Willow, follow me.
Has anyone here ever heard of Oddworld? That odd video game franchise made by that odd video game creator named Lorne Lanning, a video game auteur who intended to make artistic storytelling with philosophical undertones in his video games? Anybody? Ever since 1997, Lorne Lanning has created a fictional universe of an alien world called, well, Oddworld. Must have been named for people 12 years and upwards because it was way ahead of its time with its combination of a gritty dark atmosphere with goofy character design and philosophical undertones, talking about defending Oddworld's ecosystem from the endangerment of an industrial corporation, as well as talking about themes of slavery, rebellion, spirituality, and freedom. Now, the reason I even bothered talking about this in the first place is because Oddworld Inhabitants has recently released a video talking about the artistic side of Oddworld.
For 25 years, Oddworld has been bringing a unique universe to life. It's a universe with instantly recognisable characters, bizarre creatures, beautifully dangerous environments, and a whole host of hazardous situations.
The series understandably obtained a cult following and has been one of the main conversations when it comes to video games as an art form. Alongside titles like Journey and Shadow of the Colossus, mind you.
Oddworld's games are fun, story-driven adventures with underlying philosophical dilemmas that are relevant to our complicated world and societal views. It was an innovative idea in 1994, and just as important now. The goal was to tell stories through the medium of video games about ironies that exist in our world.
But we rounded them up, ignored their cries. Alright, we got to We cut them all up for paramite pies.
The heroes of Oddworld speak to issues that transcend politics and address the greater challenges facing their species, as well as the human condition and its dilemmas.
The company of Oddworld Inhabitants has thus far made about 9 games, 4 of which are their own original story titles, and the others are remakes of said titles. In recent years, as of recording this, Lorne Lanning and his team have managed to make remakes of the first 2 Oddworld games on the Unity engine. They are remakes of Oddworld Abe's Odyssey, renamed as Oddworld New and Tasty, and the sequel, Oddworld Abe's Exodus, with the upcoming remake called Oddworld Soulstorm.
From the dark and oppressive world of Abe, where labour controls and systematic suppression are the norm, through to the water-starved dust bowls of Stranger's Wrath, where the indigenous people face displacement, there are many themes playing out within Oddworld. Both Abe and Munch are heroes who sit at the very bottom of the food chain, and while Stranger may be better placed in that chain, he still has plenty of obstacles to overcome.
These games are the main attraction of the whole franchise, as it were. Whether you're playing the original or the remake, the game is centered on a peaceful species, and you play as one of the main leading roles named Abe. They have been enslaved by this industrial corporation to make meat, and now they are going to make meat of their own slaves. You play as Abe, and your mission is to adventurously avoid getting caught and killed, as well as help to free your fellow slave people. All whilst Abe can turn the tides with his spiritual possession ability against his enemies.
The creation of Abe was partly inspired by indigenous people and people of colour who have suffered at the hands of intolerant corporate profiteers. He is the remnant of an indigenous culture that is connected to the landscape and who had the type of power we still associate Native Americans and Shaolin monks with.
It really shows what the medium of video games are capable of in terms of storytelling.
Munch is the very last of his kind. Imagine how desperate your plight would be if the existence of an entire species was counting on you.
But nobody sings back.
And Stranger must deal with prejudice, an unfair society and cultural mindsets that mirror our own world with an absurd familiarity.
Due to the unique nature of this case, The operation is shaping up to be rather complicated. Well, give or take a few grand.
What?
The video geniusly goes over all the themes of abuse, prejudice, and struggles that are all too common throughout the Oddworld franchise.
Commercialization of a once thriving ecosystem is a common backdrop, but alongside this, Oddworld also touches on overhunting and cruel animal testing from Big Pharma.
And the best part is, it's all gift-wrapped in a fun, playable game.
All of these themes, these philosophical dilemmas are played out front and center, but they're wrapped up in a gaming experience which doesn't sacrifice fun or enjoyment.
Depends on what you mean by fun. The games are really hard. Believe me, I played them. Well, specifically the first one. I've played a demo of the first one and I've tried getting through the remake. It's really difficult.
They are experiences that have inspired fans from all over the world with their deeper, more meaningful messages. 25 years later, and Soulstorm will be no different.
So, overall, may companies like Oddworld Inhabitants encourage more people in the video game industry to step outside the comfort zones a little bit more, to give us some more unique video game experiences, as well as give us unique stories that could only be told through the interactive medium. If you want more insight on the potential of interactive storytelling, I'd highly recommend and endorse the YouTube channel Games as Literature 101. I don't necessarily always agree with his content, but he has given me a fascinating insight into what video games are capable of in terms of storytelling. I'd recommend checking out his video on Shadow of the Colossus, as well as Dust and Elysian Tale to start off with if you're new to his channel.